Hey guys, how's it going? Today I thought I would do something a little bit different and talk about beginning to learn Japanese. I know a lot of people in my comments, especially for like the Game Boy Color game that I haven't made a part for in like 9 months, but playthroughs for that or like the manga chapter reviews and stuff like that have asked questions about translations and things like that. So I thought I would make a quick video on sort of beginning to learn Japanese, because it's very different, very different from English, and to get proficient at it is going to take a long time, but you can begin to learn things and be able to apply the things that you learn practically. So I'm not a flashcard guy, so you're not going to see anything about flashcards in this. I know a lot of like how to learn Japanese stuff, especially on YouTube. It's just flashcard this, I can't do flashcards. It's just, I can't. It reminds me of elementary school learning multiplication tables. So, first things first, you need to learn the alphabets. So, hiragana, katakana, you need to learn. You can mess with kanji later. I don't even really mess with kanji. I know like almost no kanji. But hiragana and katakana, for sure. That should get you by for a lot of things. So hiragana is going to be used mostly for like Japanese words, whereas katakana is going to be used mostly for foreign words, so like English words and things like that. So if you wanted to streamline it and try to feel like you're making progress to where you can read something, I would maybe do katakana first, then you can pick out names and words and things like that without knowing anything else, and then move on to hiragana. There's a couple apps that you can use. The ones that I used were Hiragana Sensei and Katakana Sensei. You can find them on the App Store. I think they're on Android as well. They should be free. Those were pretty easy. Basically just went through and did that for a week, and that was that. It's not too bad. They look very similar, so I know people are going to have problems with that, but katakana tends to have like much harder angles, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know, they look similar, but they're not as fluid looking. They're much more angular characters, so you can typically pick them out pretty well. And then once you get to reading or whatever, you'll easily be able to pick them apart because they're usually in chunks for words and stuff like that. So after that, you've memorized hiragana, you've memorized katakana, you probably already know some Japanese words. So things like sushi, you would be able to pick out. If you knew the hiragana, if you memorized hiragana, you'd be able to read sushi and be like, oh yeah, sushi, nice, I can read Japanese. Other thing too is like reading material. Most of the content that I consume is really low reading level, stuff designed for young elementary school kids. So like Kora is designed for elementary school students. If you're trying to get into like seinen manga or like video games that have a lot of kanji, stuff like Persona or something, probably, I don't even know. I haven't played a Persona game in Japanese, but I would imagine there'd be a lot of kanji. But the younger the designated audience for the media it is, the easier it's going to be to get through. So for example, this is Bakutech. This is a Koro series. Beyblade's Koro. There's like Pokemon, Mario, Kirby. There's tons of Koro series. It's a massive magazine. But I would start with really low reading level like that. And then I just open the manga and I just go through it. So for example, this is a pretty easy panel. So let's say you know hiragana. So you've got Ikesu for hiragana right here. So Ike, I'm sure a lot of you have heard that term. Basically just means go. So su is a particle, indicates possessive. So this next word is Doragon, which is the name of the Bakugan. So let's go Doragon, basically. And that's that. You just read the panel. just like that. And if there's a word that you don't know, you can use Jisho, which is an online dictionary, basically. You can type it in English, just like the Romaji, or you can type it in Hiragana or katakana, and it should bring it up as well. You can go to Lexilogos, and you could type it in like that, and then you could copy and paste it. This is kind of handy because you can type it in English, and it will bring up the character, which is pretty cool, and then you can just copy and paste it. So, and if you're not sure what a character is, you can just kind of go through the sort of the panels and just kind of give your best guess in that keyboard, and eventually, you know, you'll be able to narrow it down. And then as you're going, words that you don't know, you just look up in Jisho, and, you know, I would just read through it, and then read through it again, and then read through it again. And the more you read through it, the more words you're going to memorize, and the less that you're going to have to look up. So one thing that I think would be helpful is to stick to maybe one series. So get like one full volume of manga, because you're going to see a lot of repetition as far as names. And then, you know, the writer's going to have similar sort of writing style is going to be consistent throughout. So you're going to see a lot of like the same words and the same sort of sentence structure and things like that. So I think that's the easiest way to do it. Also, when you're dealing with kanji in like things like korokoro, you'll have furigana, which is the hiragana for that character, and then you can look that up if you need to on Jisho, and it'll give you sort of the meaning of that. So here's another panel. This one is also pretty simple. We've got one kanji in there, but let's say you don't know kanji and you don't know a lot of the particles, like shite is a particle. But we can still sort of gather what's happening here. One, we've got the image for context, which is why I think manga is a great tool for learning Japanese. But so we've got geto, kado, one, and then we've got seto. So the kanji means my, and my is basically like a counter. So like one gate card set, or setting one gate card basically. And then shite is a particle. So, but early on, I mean, you could sort of ignore some of the particles and sort of be able to piece it together without that. So if you just knew katakana, kado, that's katakana, or gate, sorry, geto is katakana, kado is katakana, and then seto is, you know, gate card set. And then you've got the one there. So even with just that, you would be able to piece together what's happening. And then you could, for further context, you could look up the kanji, you could look up the particle down here, and then, yeah, just sort of make your way through each page. So it's going to be like really slow. So don't expect to like breeze through it. It's going to take a lot of time to be able to get through a full page, especially ones that are maybe have a lot more going on panel wise. Like maybe this one will take you quite a bit longer. I don't know. But that's a good thing about manga, is that you've got the image to sort of add context and you can sort of make your way through it. But I just kind of wanted to give sort of like my process for learning. And like I said, a lot of times I'll just be reading through this, and I'll just have Jisho just pulled up on my computer, and anything I don't know, I'll just look it up. Sometimes I'll write it down, sometimes I won't write it down, I'll just keep going. But eventually, the more you're reading through stuff or rereading through stuff, the more you're gonna pick up, and the more frequently you do it. Let's say you do it every day. You don't even have to do it for like hours every day. You can spend 20-30 minutes every day sort of making your way through manga, so it doesn't really feel like you're, you know, sitting here doing flashcards or writing crap out or whatever. I mean, you can do that. That'll probably expedite the process, probably why it's taken me so long. But if you're just wanting to sort of casually learn it, I feel like this is a pretty fun and like sort of non-invasive thing to add to your day that feels, you know, feels like progression, because not only are you reading through it, even if you don't know any of the words, you know, as you're reading through it, you know, you're looking up words and you're piecing together context, and then you get it and you're like, oh, okay, I understand what's happening now. But yeah, that's how I do it. So again, my recommendation, learn hiragana, learn katakana. You know, I think you can get Korokoro digitally, but you could just buy a volume of like young reader manga and then pull up a dictionary and just start making your way through it. That's it. Video games, you can do the same thing. I would recommend games that don't have like auto text progression. So speech bubbles that require button press to progress through. That way you can sit on that screen for as long as you need to look up the words. But yeah, that's how I've learned some Japanese. Again, I'm not fluent, but if you want to get to a point where you can sort of just get through some basic manga, you know, that's how I've done it. So I don't know, maybe I'll invest more time in the future. I don't think I'm ever going to do flashcards. I just don't like them. Maybe for kanji, but it's just not something that I really want to do. So, but if you want to learn, there you go.